Hey, Dave Kelly here, VP of Product Management and Development, and I'm here to share with you what we have new and improved for 2025. We're going to have Greg kick things off here with the Aquatic Plant Care.
Okay, folks, I visited one of the first ponds that I've seen that doesn't have crystal clear water, and the reason is we have full sun down here in Florida. It's a newer pond, and the plants are in two small containers, and they're not being fertilized. He was worried about fertilizing the plants, and so what this pond should look like is just an aquatic garden. And so what we're going to do is we're going to repot the plants, we're going to fertilize the plants, and we're going to come back in a few months and see what this looks like. The water will be crystal clear, the plants will be bigger, and this full ecosystem will be developed. And are you kidding me? This even exceeded it doesn't even look like the same pond. This, you guys tell me, this is what living the aquascape lifestyle and what ecosystem ponding looks like with just a few tropical lilies. Remember, down here in that Florida sun, they're just going to absolutely explode. It has been 3 months. Richard has added, or has been in the middle of adding, a beautiful deck over here, and it's like an entirely different pond. You tell me, and look at the water quality. Crystal clear water because we have a healthy ecosystem, and just amazing aquatic plants from Holt's Nursery. It's an entirely different property, an entirely different ecosystem now that we properly fertilized, put the proper containers in here. This is why I do my job. I want to inspire people to live the aquascape lifestyle. Now, remember, these pots were too small, the plants weren't well fertilized, and now with proper fertilization, the right size pots, obviously the Florida sun, in 3 months, this is the turnaround. What do you guys think? Tell me if you understand why I get so passionate about aquatic plants. I love my job. People ask what happened here, tell them there's a new water lily sheriff in town.
Oh, thank you, Lily Sheriff! You saved my little Lily! I guess size does matter!
Okay, so the Lily Sheriff's goal and Aquascape's goal, obviously, is to make it easy to be successful with aquatic plants. Now, we've had aquatic planters for a while and been very successful with them, but as ponds have gotten larger, we wish we had something bigger to grow larger aquatics. So we set out to develop a more professional grade version of our aquatic planters, and it looks quite different than what we've had currently. So let me walk you through some of the features and benefits of them. First and foremost, we stuck with the fabric style aquatic planter, but we selected a different, thicker material than the current one. Any one of you have actually used our current aquatic planters, it's more like you could fold it up like laundry. Well, this isn't the case with this thicker one. The thicker material on this more resembles like our rock pad geotextile. It's a thick-walled material. And we chose this because we wanted to help maintain the wall structure of the aquatic planter over the course of time, so it wouldn't settle or actually drop down and have the roots go over the edges and spill everything out of it. But it's still flexible enough that allows it to conform to spaces inside the pond. which is a lot different than plants grown in plastic pots, which is one of the reasons why we didn't choose them. The other reason we didn't choose plastic pots is it actually limits the plant's true potential because the plant will get root bound. When you think about it, that plant, when the roots start to grow out towards the outside of the pot, it hits that plastic impenetrable wall and it immediately starts to coil up in search of nutrients. And that really limits the growth you're going to have with it. In contrast to that, that non-woven geotextile fabric that we use actually promotes the development of healthy fibrous feeder roots. So the plants in this case will actually start to grow out, and instead of being greeted by a plastic impermeable wall, it'll have that geotextile permeable where oxygen, dissolved oxygen, can transfer through those walls. That also aids in the growth of beneficial bacteria, microorganisms right around that surface, and that aids in the plant's metabolic processes to uptake nutrients. We're going to have 3 sizes available with this, starting at a 12-inch diameter, going to 16 and 20-inch diameter. And basically the size of the new planters pick up where the current ones leave off.
And all we need is the gravel. Now with all of this soil, with the plant, with all of the gravel, when this gets wet, it'll probably weigh over 100 pounds, which is why we have these heavy duty straps that go all the way around and over. So it's a 2-man lily, really, what we got right here. Here we go. A 2-man project right here. And these pads will be 12, 14 inches across when they start growing, because now that plant will be beautiful because it will have the roots be able to spread out, it'll be fertilized, and it will just continue to grow. This is the way a water lily should be planted.
Now, as you saw in that video, we have high quality strapping, and we model this after super sacks. You've probably seen these before. Maybe even they delivered rock, gravel, and stuff on a job site. But they are designed to handle thousands of pounds. So these straps go underneath the entire planter. So when you're picking that heavy planter up, especially if you're picking it up and bringing it outside of the pond 3-4 years down the road to replant it, you're going to make sure that planter stays intact. So the integrated handles, the 12-inch planter has 1 set of handles because it isn't as heavy as the 2 larger ones. Those have 2 sets of handles. Another nice little feature is it comes with a convenient waterproof plastic tag. So you can label this with a waterproof marker, whether it's tropical, hardy, the variety of plants you're actually putting in. Makes it great for coming back, the second year or third year and knowing what plant is what. Now, we often send some of our products out to be tested by our customers or by collaborators. In this case, Ken and Harkin, Camp Kennan. We actually sent him down some of the lily planters, as well as some of our soil and some of our new fertilizer. And I'll talk about that after this little video. But when Ed went down to meet with him, they did a little segment here to talk about his experiences with the new aquatic plant line.
What's up, everybody? Ed the Pond Professor here. We are back at Camp Kennan.
What's up?
You guys know him from all the different content that he's been created over the years. We've done some amazing projects here, and what I love about working with Kennan, R&D.
I'm a crash test dummy, people. I love it. I enjoy this so much. Love when you have new products because it usually means I get to break them for you guys. What do we have, Ed? What are we looking at? I'm pretty excited.
So what we have here is our heavy-duty aquatic plant pots. Okay. As you can see, different from most other lily pots you're going to see out there. They're not just the rigid plastic pot, so it is a fabric pot. The nice thing about this is it is a specialized weave. Okay. It's going to allow the feeder roots to actually penetrate through. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow those plants to get more nutrients directly from the water column, as well as dissolved oxygen, which, as you know, anytime you're talking aquatic, oxygen is key. Yep. Nutrient management is also very important. We're going to be using our standard potting soil. That's that alluvial soil mixture that we use.
I love the words he throws out, alluvial, people. There's going to be a test at the end.
There's definitely going to be a test.
Yeah. All right.
Once we get our plants in place, we also have, check out these.
That I'm really excited about. I'm watching a show called Dark Matter, and it looks like the ampules that they inject to kind of go through Schrodinger's box. But anyway, this is not quite as high-tech, but it is going to make life a lot easier. I know for me, because with aquatic lilies, I was having a hard time keeping mine enriched.
Okay.
So I was using a competitor's product, and it didn't last long at all. So this is 180 days.
180 days, wow. Full season. A little bit different than normal stuff. It does have the higher potassium for the blooms.
Okay.
Limited nitrogen a little bit, they're going to get a lot of that nitrogen directly from the water column. So we're going to be very conscious about that. And then even limited phosphorus as well. So phosphorus in an aquatic environment does feed algae issues. So we're trying to be conscious of the overall ecosystem. We want to have incredible plants, but we don't want to over-fertilize everything, because then it could cause water quality issues. So that is a specialized mixture. And actually, the manufacturer working with on this product is actually the only stuff that is used on the NASA space station.
Get out of here.
Is this fertilizer.
Very cool.
Isn't
So
it?
they're growing plants in outer space, and we're growing them in our backyards underwater. Excellent. I
Yes.
love it, man. And of course, you have 3 different sizes here for the size pots you need. Truth be told, we have been filming content. You're going to have to be watching that. And we have been using these, and the handles are a plus.
Yeah.
The other thing I like is that when I'm in the water, they're easy to manipulate.
Yep.
And they conform to some of these irregular shapes.
Versus
that
a rigid container.
It's annoying to try and like shim something or,
The other nice thing about them, because it is a heavy duty, I mean, these straps go all the way around it. I've already started carrying gravel and stuff like that
Cool.
inside of it. It's like you can throw rocks in there, boulders, and have a couple guys grab that stuff, and you can shuffle that around. And it's strong and it's durable, so that tells you it will definitely hold up.
Right.
We have high hopes for all these things, so what we need to do is get some of these guys in the water.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get some feedback.
All right.
Now, the water garden industry has used plant tablets for a number of years. I mean, we used to sell them years ago. Now, they have to be pushed into the soil because you want the fertilizer to go where the plants actually can eat it. That likely means you need to get into the pond to do that. That alone is not a big deal. The problem becomes you need to add them every other week. So getting in the pond every other week is a pain in the butt. The other issue is a lot of times they'll break apart when pushing them in the soil. So challenge with that is the fertilizer doesn't get to the plant where it needs it. Instead, fertilizer enters the pond where it can cause water quality issues such as algae blooms. Most people start off diligent about putting these fertilizer tabs in, but you soon forget, you get busy, or you just basically get frustrated and stop adding them. And that's where the quality of the plants and the blooms suffer. Enter our new Aquascape once a year fertilizer capsule. Super easy to push in the soil without needing to remove or repot the plant. Capsule is durable, won't break apart when pushing in the soil. A lot of times you come back the second year, and you're going to fertilize it, you have that gravel spread on top, that soil might be a little harder, you got the rhizomes and the roots that are actually in there. It might be difficult to push the capsule or a tablet or anything in there. One way to accomplish that is just a blunt object, such as a 1/2-inch PVC pipe or a dowel or a broom handle. A lot of times the capsule itself will be able to go into it. So really easy to actually create that spot where that capsule is going to slide into. Now, it's a gelatin capsule. So once it's pushed in the soil, it takes some time, but it'll start to dissolve and then exposes that time-released fertilizer. What's great about this is it is a 180-day formula. So no need to get in every other week to fertilize this stuff. You start at the beginning of the season, and we chose the 180-day time release version because that pretty much will get you through an entire season no matter where you are in the world. Perfect, because by the time the season's over and you go into the winter kind of dormancy period, there's no excess fertilizer left over. Come spring, it's ready to be fertilized again. Each capsule is filled with a specialized proprietary blend that we have. It's designed for lilies and lotus, other aquatic plants. As Ed talked about in that video, that 11:3:14 ratio we have, that phosphorus, we keep that real low. We don't want to cause algae problems simply because we're trying to fertilize our plants. And then we have a high potassium in that ratio for incredible flowering. Fertilizer, it's available in 2 different forms. It's available in loose, granular form, and that's going to be used if you're potting a new plant or if you're repotting a plant. And then the capsules for the second year beyond can be used to re-fertilize them. And the capsules will come in a 6-pack or a 12-pack.
Here's the traditional way of fertilizing a water lily. Here's the Aquascape way with our time-release fertilizer capsules. This thing is very hard to get into because it starts to dissolve as soon as you touch the water. You'll at least have a few minutes to put this one in. And unfortunately, with this one, you have to fertilize every 2 weeks. With this one, you have to fertilize once a year. Done. Once a year fertilizer, and you don't have to take your water lilies out of your pond to do it.
So if you question, do the new aquatic planters and fertilizer really work? Well, these videos we have here at Greg, this was back in the beginning of June. We did kind of a beautification of Aqualand. That's why the water is all cruddy, because everyone was actually in there stirring stuff up as we're actually, planting it up with lilies and putting them all out there. Well, we took a picture here about 8 to 10 weeks later, beginning of August, and it's absolutely incredible. So we've had great success actually using the new planters and the new fertilizer, and confident that you guys will too. All right, next category we have here is geotextiles. Now, underlayment, the geotextiles we actually use, they serve a ton of different industries out there, from soil stabilization, substrate separation, stormwater, road construction. It's used for a number of different purposes out in construction. But for us, the pond industry, it's that cushion or padding that it provides the liner. It's what's important to us. So this past May, we kind of mid-season introduced some changes. A standard underlayment is replacing that original underlayment we've had for years. Basically has a thicker loft, about 50% thicker than the original underlayment, and it's priced less expensive than what our underlayment was sold for in 2023. And you can just see by the roll-off on the right there, the thickness of that 15 by 300 compared to the thickness of the original one. We've also introduced a new heavy-duty underlayment. So this is actually twice as thick as our original underlayment, and it's priced the same as our original underlayment was back in 2023. So from dollar to dollar, this is actually the true replacement for our original underlayment, but you get that heavy-duty, twice as thick loft to it. And you can see right there on the left, the original compared to the new heavy-duty, quite a significant difference in it. But what I really want to point out here is the heavy-duty underlayment. It's going to be offered in that 15 by 300 foot roll that we're all familiar with, and it's two very compact rolls we think you're really going to like. And I want to explain this so people realize what these compact rolls are, because they're different than the compact rolls we've sold for years. Now, the ones we've sold before would come in a 5 foot or 7.5 foot wide option. And in this case, the factory takes that full 15 foot roll and they just simply cut that roll down in size. So for a 7.5 foot roll, they cut that 15 foot roll in half. For a 5 foot roll, they cut that 15 foot in thirds. So some simple math there. Now, the cut down rolls, they're easy to transport than the 15 foot rolls. It's one of the reasons why we do this. But a lot of people don't like using them, including our own construction crew, because the overlaps are frustrating. Every time you overlap, you're actually losing square footage during that overlap. It's often frustrating and clunky because as you're walking around in the pond, you're trying to keep those overlaps in check. And you're also trying to keep those overlaps in check when you're bringing the liner into the pond and not disturbing them. That's where the new heavy-duty compact rolls come in play. They're a full 15-foot wide roll. They're not a 15-foot wide cut down. The factory, when they're manufacturing it, they fold that underlayment up and then they roll it up on that smaller core. These are available in a 15 by 50 and a 15 by 100 foot roll. So these new heavy-duty compact rolls are super easy to transport and move around the job site. No longer do you have to actually pull out a big 15 by 300 foot long roll and cut whatever length you need off of it and fold that up and then put that roll away. You just grab one of these compact rolls and throw it in the back of the truck. And it's easy through the whole supply chain. That same square footage, 3 compact rolls are equal to that picture up in the top right corner of one 15 by 300. 3 rolls fit in the back of a pickup. The rolls fit on top of a pallet, which is great. Aquascape can ship these out on a semi to our distributor network. The distributors can easily receive these and inventory these. You can all go into our distributor network, pick these up, throw them in the truck, and bring them out to their job site. So it makes so much sense for these rolls. And like I said, we're still going to sell that 15 by 300 foot roll, but we're hoping everyone sees the benefits of the heavy-duty compact rolls in that 15 by 100 and 15 by 50 size. Now, moving boulders into a pond can be a challenge. So especially if you don't have machinery, if you're in a space that won't allow the use of machinery, ball carts, they can get you close, but at some point in time, you got to pull that rock off a ball cart and bring it down into the pond. So we made some modifications to our rock pad, and we kind of thought, what if we take our 3x3 rock pad, and we stretch it out a little bit, make it a little longer, and incorporate a series of holes for your hands or straps to be put in. And that's where we came up with our rock pad sling. It's basically the thicker geotextile rock pad that's designed to allow you to carry or strap and move the rock into position. We have this thing rated for about 500 pounds. It can definitely carry more than that. The challenge is once you start getting rocks larger than 500 pounds, they start getting big and they start exceeding that 5 by 3 foot area to use the hand holes and to pick them up. So 500 pounds, I'm sure people will test more than that, but that's what we found right now that these things are good for. The rock pad itself, it protects the liner when setting the rock. The nice thing about these is not only is it designed to move the rocks into position, these bigger rocks, but it's also designed to protect that liner and priced to be left in place. So you actually move the rock, set it, and forget it. All right, so take a look at this. Our rock pad, that 3x3 square piece of thick fabric, it's $24.99. Our new rock pad sling, I mentioned, it's designed to be used to move the rocks and be left in place. We've priced this really aggressive. I think you guys are going to like this because that, with the hand holes, $9.99 each, sold in packs of 10. Designed to be put a pack of 10 on your trailer and use it on the job site when you need it and leave it there. I'm sure you guys will be using it for all different types of stuff. Okay, so on to the lighting category. Unfortunately, we had 2 delays that cost us from having our new wide-angle lights available the first half of 2024. We had all expectations of having these in March, and it didn't happen. First issue we had was with our electrical listing agency. So anytime we have an electrical product, we have to go through agencies like UL, ETL, CSA, Intertech to get these things approved and stamped to be safe. Production was ready to go in the year, but we had to wait in line for Intertech to get our stamp of approval. And then once we got in line, which was delayed, we got paired up with this dude as our agent. Any one of you probably can picture yourself going into the Department of Motor Vehicles and you finally get called up and the person you get paired with is just beating you up, asking you for every form of identification and putting you through the ringer. Meanwhile, everyone to the left and right of you is walking up and getting whatever they came for and walking out the door. Well, that's basically what happened to us. I mean, they were making us jump through all sorts of hoops. We finally got that completed and got into the production, and we discovered an issue. So the engineers then identified the issue, resolved the production problem, but that created another delay. So here in August, though, I'm happy to say the new shipment of lights did arrive. We did all of our quality control checks, and we have begun shipping out the order. So as of August here, we're starting to ship out the wide-angle lights. We have some color-changing control hub improvements for 2025 coming. We have a stronger signal strength. One of the things with the color-changing lights compared to other smart products like the thermometer or the pump receiver or the smart plug, those items are usually closer to the house. The control hub for the lights, a lot of times is out further in the landscaping, especially if it's out where the waterfalls on streams are. And one of the things we underestimated with the smart products and with the color changing light hub is just how cruddy a lot of Wi-Fi signal strengths are, especially as you get further and further from the house. So we have a new antenna that actually changes the signal strength and increases it significantly. And what that's actually going to do is make it easier to connect to the Wi-Fi when you're out on the projects. It's also going to make it more stable and have a reliable connection once it's out in place. The other thing we've done is made modifications to the design of the PC boards, these internal design changes. We incorporated a self-resetting fuse inside this. So we kind of took some cues off of our smart pump receiver that we recently updated, and we have protection in there. So if there's any issues due to a short somewhere down the line, so whether it's a light, whether it's a connector, whether the low voltage cable has been cut by someone doing edging, it'll protect the hub. The other nice thing about this is it also allows the hub to be used as a troubleshooting tool. So you can take an issue, you take one of these hubs, and you can slowly start to diagnose where the problem's at. If you have a line going out and you have 3 lights on it and you know that's where the problem's at, you can actually take 2 of the lights off and test one. Then you test another, and you test another until you find where the problem is or where the splitter's at or where the cable might be cut without actually burning through hubs. So we've actually been testing this. We've also sent it out to some CACs when they've used a lot of color changing lights, and they've said this thing works great at that purpose. New hubs are available for the 2025 season, and we want people to be successful with our color changing lights. And when they work, they are fantastic. And what we want to do is offer the option to upgrade any existing hubs with a new improved hub. Just contact us and we'll get you one of the new upgrades. All right, let's move on to the decorative side. One of the things we're always asking about is why doesn't Aquascape make any type of rock covers? It's been difficult. And basically, it's been difficult to create ones that look realistic and then make ones that look realistic and a competitive cost. These 2 pictures here, these are available out there, but we are confident this isn't what you're asking for. Now, current options we have for concealing items include our skimmer lid, which is really kind of a low-profile objects you're trying to cover. We also have our faux stump. But what we're excited for the 2025 season are 2 new full rock covers that I think look really, really good. These are heavy-duty fiberglass resin composite construction. We have the 2 different sizes, like a smaller one and a larger one. And the large open space works great for concealing different components. Just for a sense of scale here, that right there is an XT dosing system with the smaller one, and then there is the same XT dosing system with the larger ones. It kind of gives you an idea how large these actually are. One of the nice features we have a little cord slot or a tubing slot located on the bottom of this. You can run your electrical cord or your aeration tubing or your dosing system tubing out the bottom of it, and they look great. I mean, we went back and forth so many different iterations trying to get finish on this to look natural, and I do the Where's Waldo thing here to see if you can actually find it. And it's difficult. It really does blend in. We have that kind of sandstone type finish to it simply because that's the most prevalent, most common colors we're dealing with out there across a wide market that we sell our products into. And while we were creating those faux rock covers, we also created a couple fish caves. We took that same faux rock cover and then created some openings and ports into it. It's similar dimensions to the ones I just showed you, but they have multiple openings in them. So it's not just one opening on one side. You can come in, the fish can come and go out of two different sides. So it makes it super easy to add into a pond that's already there, but you can also kind of build it into the design of a pond that you're putting in. So these will be available for the 2025 season. And then the Spillway Bowl and Basin we've sold for years. That current color option we have is that patina, that kind of greenish blue color. And we have a new iron ore color we're adding to the mix for 2025. This is kind of has a dark gray, some mottled bronze undertones in it. It's a really sharp looking color. We have it in the small size, a little Aqua Basin 30 type fountains that go on top of it. And then we also have 32 and 40 inch diameter larger bowls. We'll have two different options for the Spillway Bowl and Basins for the 2025 season. Now on the patio ponds, this is one of the ones I'm excited about. We introduced these back in 2011, and it was a refined take on a container water garden. There's nothing else like that out there in the marketplace back then. Now these things, whether people realize it or not, they're handmade. So it's a process of layering resin and fiberglass over the course of different layers to create that durable structure. And one of the things we did was integrate shelves for plants and spitters into this. So for normal container gardens, when you normally do that, you're trying to create different areas, flat spots to put plants or put spitters on, putting bricks and blocks and stuff in there. So this is a nice molded in shelf. We even included a little cave to keep that pump out of sight. And then we have the 3 holes in the top where you can run your pump tubing to a spitter or your electrical cord out of that. And on the back side of it, we have a little cord relief that helps camouflage that cord as it goes over the edge of the bowl. And like many of our products, they aren't always use intended. That's the case with the patio pond a number of years ago. Now, Brian Helfrich was going to put a little water feature in on the front entranceway to his house, and he was going to include a container garden onto that. And while he was actually getting all the supplies together and starting to set stuff up, his kids were out there messing around with a garden hose, and they started filling up the patio pond. And they kept filling it, and eventually the water started to pour out that cord slot that conceals the cord. When Brian saw that, he kind of got an idea in his head, and that was the first patio pond turned into a spillway. He plumbed it up and had water running out of it and incorporated it into a little water feature. Now, this inspired others to do the same thing because we started doing it more, people started seeing it, and pretty soon we started seeing a bunch of really cool applications out there with people doing spillway bowls with the patio ponds and cutting in multiple spillways onto little slots here, slipping in the edges, creating different actually appearances. I mean, really elaborate design. So it's pretty cool to see what people start doing with these things. And now while the patio pond can be customized, this wasn't his intended use. And so therefore there are things that are a little bit clunky about it. You know, most people try to use that cord relief as the original spillway starting point since it's already there. But the challenge with this is that integrated shelf that's in there is in the exact opposite position that you would want it at. You know, if you're using that cord relief as the spillway, you want that shelf to be in the back of the bowl. You want that backdrop there so you can landscape it with plants, driftwood, stone, etc. Others will cut larger openings in or multiple weirs around the sides. Requires larger pumps and plumbing when you're actually starting to do this. So people are getting creative with it, finding different ways to create spillways off of this and some pretty elaborate designs. But the ultimate purpose of this, back when we introduced them in 2011, was to have them as a container garden, not to have plumb water going through it. We've made some cool changes to the patio ponds for 2025. They're now going to be called fountain bowls, and the new fountain bowls are now designed to be both a container water garden and a spillway. Shelves will no longer be built into the bowl. So this is how they will come when you order up a fountain bowl. If you want a shelf, it's an option and you can purchase it if so desired. If you don't need a shelf and you just want a bowl, well then you don't use it. Let me show you how it works because there's a ledge that's down on the lower center portion of the bowl. And that's what's going to support these shelves. And that allows you to use one or more shelves in any different configuration you want to use them, allowing you to decorate the bowl however you want to decorate it. We've also changed the bottom of the bowl. It's slightly recessed, and that's with plumbing in mind. Now, regardless of actually changing that, using bulkheads, fittings, determining pipe lengths, connecting everything, positioning and leveling the bowl is nothing short of a challenge. So we have these new rubber gasket bulkheads that are used. Let me show you how they actually work. So you drill out a hole based on the pipe diameter you want to use. Now, these rubber bulkheads are going to come in 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. So for here, we're using an 1.5 inch bulkhead. So that 1.5 inch bulkhead, it takes a 2.5 inch hole saw to create the hole that's required for that. So once you cut out that hole, you take that rubber bulkhead and you put it into position. Then you're going to take the pipe and you're going to lubricate it using something like silicone grease. It allows it to be pushed through and slide in, creating that nice watertight seal. Once that pipe comes in, it can be actually trimmed to the desired height. And I'd recommend actually trimming it right down towards the bottom there, just tall enough that you can actually just slide on a PVC coupling. That PVC coupling can be used to connect any height of standpipe. If you don't want to use a PVC coupling and a standpipe, you can just have that stub down there. It creates a different effect, right? If you keep that water as low as possible and allow it to raise up, when it gets to the top, it's going to be a nice peaceful water spillway coming over the front of it. If you take a standpipe and you raise that standpipe out, you're going to have more agitation at the surface, and it just has a different look just based on different design and how you want to do it. We typically are putting these fountain bowls or patio bowls converted into spillway bowls inside the liner. It doesn't have a faceplate like a biofall does, so there's not a way to get that mechanical seal up there with the liner. So put these things inside the liner. And what the benefit of that is that allows us to put a little drain hole in it. I show here a weep hole. We'll often drill a little hole into it, super, super small, but that when that pump shuts off or in the wintertime when you take the pump and shut it down, that bowl will actually drain down. I mean, you can also even use, if you want, the rubber bulkheads. You could put one of the little 3/4 or one of the 1/2-inch rubber bulkheads in there and put a plug or a little piece of pipe in there to create a drain plug, and then you can pop it out and allow it to drain. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do with these bowls. Hey, the nice thing about these rubber bulkheads is if you don't want to come in the bottom of the bowl of the plumbing, you want to come in the side, no problem. These bulkheads can be kind of put on any type of little radiuses. We've even tested them out using for jets on pipes. So it makes it really easy depending on how you want to come into it. And that's an easy way to put these in. Don't have to worry about leveling as much. Now, the patio ponds have always been a great way to turn into a spillway bowl and add a contemporary style waterfall onto a water feature. But other than adding a little bit of circulation, they've never been really a functional part of the feature's filtration until now, because we now have fountain bowl filter kits. Basically what that does is it turns any fountain bowl into what we kind of nicknamed a bio bowl. This includes the shelves, filter mat, media net, bio balls, and some plumbing. So the nice thing about this, it's a great alternative to biofall. So for clients that don't want a waterfalls, maybe they want something more contemporary, there you go. But it's also a great alternative to biofall because you don't have the waterfall, the rocks, the berm that has to be created. It's less labor. The skill level to put this in is a heck of a lot less than someone that's been a master waterfall builder. So let me show you how this actually works. You got the T fitting and the shelves that go in. Here we are putting those into position. Now note the T in this case, we had that little stub that was cut off of the pipe coming in the bottom of it. That T just goes right on top of that, and it's real low because we want that water to actually flow beneath those shelves. So these shelves are designed differently than the shelves we had for the original patio bowl. Remember I showed you that integrated shelf that had the 3 holes for a electrical cord to come out or tubing to come out? In this case, we have a lot of holes because what we want to do is we want to distribute that water. So that T is going to shoot that water underneath the shelves, and that water is going to slowly rise up, just like a biofall and how it rises up through the filter pads. In this case, it's going to rise up through these holes that are in these shelves, in through the filter pad, on top of that, and then the media nets. Now, these are custom media nets. They're actually stitched in the design of the bowl, and they have a nice little zipper on them. So you're going to fill those with the bio balls and spread those over the top of the filter mats. So it kind of has the same structural filtration design as a biofalls, where it's coming in the bottom of that swirl chamber where that sediment can drop out. It goes up through a filter pad and then through the bio balls. There you go. So the filtration capacity of this, if you look here, I have the biofalls 1,000, 2,500, and 6,000. We did all the square foot analysis calculations on these, and you're looking at the 4 different bowls. We have 2 squares and 2 circular bowls. The smaller square and the smaller circular filter up to 1,500 and 1,750. So kind of in between a biofalls 1,000 and a biofalls 2,500. And then the larger bowls, the larger square and the larger diameter one, are 2,500 and 3,500 gallons. So kind of between a 2,500 and a biofalls 6,000 to give you an idea. Another cool thing we've also done is created these little hanging planters. So those shelves in the fountain bowls are down a little further, about 6 inches down. So these are designed to hit up at the margin. So great area for plantings such as impatiens, creeping jenny, other types of little tropical plants up top there that just want to get their feet wet, or even are actually terrestrial plants. And it wouldn't survive, neither one of those would survive if you actually put those down 6-8 inches down into the water. So that makes it easier to get creative with container water gardens. And it also makes it useful for when you're putting in spillway bowls. Now what I want to show here is that we're not all talking about making spillway bowls. We've also designed some stuff to enhance the ability for you to get more creative if you're doing container water gardens or patio ponds.
Hey, it's Matt Augustine here with the product department, and I'm here with Trevor from the tech department. As a lot of you already know, Trevor is a super creative person. So I wanted to get some of these new products, like the new fountain bowl shelves and the new hanging planters, into his hands to highlight how these changes to the fountain bowls not only make it easier to get more creative when installing Fountainscape or adding these onto a pond, but they also make it a lot easier to get creative when you're doing container water gardens or patio ponds.
Well, first off, I want to say these are awesome additions to the patio bowl. One of the main things I'm excited about is that I can actually divide this into two different sections. We didn't have that opportunity before, and these planter bowls are awesome. I'm going to be able to scape in the foreground while still having the background to look at. I'm excited. I'm ready to get started.
All right, so here it is. It looks awesome, Trevor. So if you want to go ahead and just kind of walk us through what you did, what you thought of the new shelf and the hanging planters, and how that kind of opened up things for you.
So first off, I think all of the new components made this scape super easy. Like, we were in and out of here in a couple hours. I used the urn as the focal point. So instead of a waterfall, we were able to use this. That was really cool. And then that's just sitting on top of the shelf. So the shelves are on either side. We actually have the pump underneath this front one, which is super easy to access. I moved 2 rocks and then boom, I'm right there to the pump. A lot of fun scaping it, and I think these new products are a great addition to the line.
So the fountain bowls are going to be offered in 4 colors, 2 shapes, several sizes, and basically it allows you guys and how you use this product endless possibilities and how to customize it. We have a new color. It's a lunar gray, is replacing that desert granite we've had for years in the patio pond side. It's a really cool, kind of a whitish with gray undertones into it. We've actually changed the name of the European terracotta over to Merlot, so that visually kind of gives you a better idea what that color is, better than calling it European terracotta. So it's the same color, just now called Merlot. The shelves are going to be sold individually, and they're also going to be sold in 4-packs, and those hanging planters are going to be sold individually. The actual filtration kits are sold for each of these. So if you want to convert them into a bio bowl, you buy the fountain kit, and that'll come with the shelf, so it'll come with everything you need to do that. So we're super excited about the new fountain bowls because not only are they still great for doing container water gardens, I think we've done some really nice things to enhance these for spillways and biological filtration. Like any product, once we do this kind of stuff and we introduce it and it starts getting out in the hands of all of our customers who are the artists, I'm excited to see what everyone does and how kind of projects they create with these things. Now, Brian always says bigger is better. Several years ago, we took that stacked slate line of products where it topped off at a 55-inch was our large, and we introduced the new XXL 8-foot tall urn. And we've done a couple production runs on those since we introduced them, limited production runs. Well, we decided to go big or go home with our new line of bowls. We have 2 new bowls we're adding to it. We're going from 32 to 40-inch diameter all the way up to a 50-inch and 60-inch diameter bowls. Now, these things are huge. It literally holds 180 gallons of water, that large 60-inch one. These, I'm super excited to see what people are going to do with them. And while we're at the trend of going larger, we're going to go from that 18-inch small little sphere up to 40-inch. And I think everyone's going to love Brian's new big balls. This thing is huge. It's 6 foot wide, about 5.5 foot tall because it's kind of lopped on the top where that water is going to come down. Now, all of these XXL fountains are going to be available. I mentioned before that XXL urn was kind of limited production runs, special production runs we had. We now have those in inventory, and we're going through production right now for the XXL spheres and these large bowls. They'll be available for 2025, and we'll be having an inventory of them from now on. So feel comfortable to design them into future projects because we're going to have them here for you when you're ready to install those projects.
All right, Bri, so you and the construction crew now have had the opportunity to use the new fountain bowls on a couple different projects. Let me get your feedback on the ability to convert these bowls now into a biological filter.
We've always been using the bowls like this where we can manipulate the old patio bowls and cut out a notch to get a waterfall to come out of this. But I think now that we've added the biofilter part to the thing, and we can increase the customer's filtration without having to add a biofalls or a wetland or something like that, makes it such an easy add-on to a pond. It's effortless to install with some of those new fittings where we can just bring the pipe right in through the side. I think the idea of the removable racks inside, so you can turn it into a filter, you can change the configuration of where plants may or may not sit in there, the bioball bag and everything else. It's so awesome. And the price point's right. Like, to install a biofalls on an existing pond, we charge anywhere from $5 to $7 because of the enormous berm work that has to happen, potential retaining walls, bringing in extra soil. It's just a labor thing. Like, this is a single person out there, and in about 2 hours, they can have a great additional filter on the side of the pond.
Yeah, and the labor skill or experience needed to put this in compared to build and construct a waterfall.
Yeah, like, look at this waterfall and how much skill it takes to build that versus this waterfall over here, even the one you're looking at right there.
All right, so it's no secret. Everyone knows you like giant, large, decorative fountains, right? That XXL urn and stuff. So when we designed the new fountain bowl line, it was a must-have. We stopped at 40-inch before on the patio ponds, and now with the new fountain bowls, we have a 50-inch and a 60-inch. And we're talking at 60 inches, almost like a little pond in itself. It holds 180 gallons of water.
That's bigger than everybody's bathtub.
Yeah.
In fact, the first time I saw it, I was like, I could take a bath in that, right? Awesome. I think we needed something that, so many guys are doing these large-scale projects, whether they're like rec ponds, swim ponds, large boulders and everything else, and a 32-inch bowl on something of that size just doesn't look to scale, right? Now these bowls are to scale with some of those big projects, and I love working with it.
We pulled the new 50 and 60 inch off the container, and when they came off, we're like, holy crap, these things are huge. But the project you did back at Aqua Gardens at Aquascape, I mean, you did it right. It's all to scale. Like, the stones are big, the bowls are big, but everything balances out. And you go back there, and it's like, it all makes sense.
Yes.
It doesn't look overpowering. So
you do need some big rocks to scale them down. A 60-inch bowl on this project might look out of place.
Well, I'm super excited because whenever we come out with these new projects, especially the fountains, and we see what you and the construction crew does with it, all of our customers do with these things. They start to post them on social media, and it becomes viral. Everyone starts to try to one-up each other and stuff. So there's more tools now in our arsenal to be able to do that. So thanks for all your help with that.
It's going to be awesome to see how creative the people get with those. I don't see anybody suspending them with chains. Like 60-inch bowl full of water hung with chains. Like, you're going to need a crane to hold it in place.
It's a challenge.
Go get them, Joey.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Awesome.
So super excited about the new fountain bowls. Our construction crew has already put a number of different bowls in on different projects, including the one we pictured there. It's right here with our back of our aqua gardens. We had these out and running during our pandemonium. We had nothing but great feedback. I've already got a ton of people asking, when can I get them? All the new fountain bowls and everything will be coming in at the end of 2024, available for the 2025 season. We have a new 2025 new products brochure that'll be available. You guys can get your hands on. But more importantly, the 2025 catalog, we will have printed catalogs this coming year. You guys have asked for it in the past. We haven't printed these because the price of print and paper has gone through the roof. But one thing I want to point out is this is not our normal print runs like we've done years past. We're printing hundreds of thousands of catalogs. This is a limited print run. These are designed to be meant to use as a reference tool by you, not as a marketing piece. And what we noticed with our own customer care here, Aquascape, is they were still utilizing catalogs from 3 years ago when we were actually printing them for reference, because some people just want to have that paper to flip through to find something quickly. And then other times you go to the website to actually find stuff. So this is meant as a reference tool. We'll have these available for you to use. It's a keeper, not to be used for actually mass mailings. We have other tools, the dream books and stuff like that, for mass mailings and stuff if you want to use those. Another thing I want to point out, because behind the scenes we spent a lot of work on it, is improved website navigation. So making it easier to find what you're looking for when you go to the website. We've dropped that in July, so people have already started maybe to see it. I want to point out real quick what that looks like, and that's that menu up top here. It's really cleaned up, and I've used it for several months because I'm constantly looking up stuff on our own website. It's a ton easier the way these different categories are broken up and how you can drop down and find stuff super, super quick. All right, from the whole product team, I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank the product team for all the hard work they've done. I want to thank all you, the customers, for being our customers, as well as all the feedback we get, because that's what fuels our product improvements. It's also what fuels a lot of the new products we come out with. And I want to encourage all of you to reach out. If you're having a problem with a product, or if you have an idea for a product, or just a question to product, email us. Products@aquascapeinc.com is managed by the products team. Maureen Rakowski receives those emails, and then she makes sure she gets it to the right person that has the expertise to answer those. We get a lot of messages on Facebook. So between myself, Matt, James, and Maureen, you always can tag us. You can always Facebook message us, and we'll make sure we answer that question or get you to the person that can answer that question. So bottom line, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd rather have you reach out and talk about a problem you're actually having than not hear about it and have our head in the sand thinking everything is rosy. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.